I'm Corbett Wall with USDA Livestock and Grain Market News, here with your weekly feeder and stocker cattle market report for the week ending January the 13th. We had calves, both light calves and bigger feeder calves, selling mostly firm to $5 higher, and spots as much as $10 higher on several classes, mostly 6-weight heifers in the Midwest, as those weights are getting a big demand push from buyers coming in there and taking out the replacement quality heifers, those that we want to keep, and that's consequently improving the price for those that are going to feed, because they're picking and choosing through those heifers. Also on your lightweight steers, they continue to get higher every week and in big bunches, but primarily those steers under 550 pounds, and those are the absolute favorite of your backgrounders and the guys that are already putting the cattle together for grass. Now your trends for the nationwide trend on this report, not as sharp as a lot of sales. You know, Oklahoma City had trends up to $12, $13 higher on some classes, but they hadn't had a sale in 3 weeks. So a lot of your bigger sales, especially your Monday sales, we're just now getting back to full-scale business this week, and they were just now realizing those huge gains that your other mid to late week sales had seen last week in the first full week of the year. And on this report, in your weekly summary, we had already recognized those gains, but still firm to $5 higher. We may actually see some signs that the market is settling a little bit on this big New Year push right here, but and there were some places we even saw some weakness on some cattle, especially your bigger calves and some of those big fleshy calves that had been supplementally fed after they were weaned there, and we haven't hardly had any winter to speak of, especially up through your plains states and in the Midwest. It's been so mild, and those cattle have just kind of gotten fleshy because there hadn't been that cold weather to sap that flesh off of them, but that's what happens. But there was some weakness in the prices on those cattle in some places. Now this week, in the middle of the week or late in the week, did have a big cold snap come down as that Canadian front come down and reminded us what time of year it is, and saw huge temperature swings from you know, highs in the high 50s there on Wednesday, and then all of a sudden down in the teens and the 20s for highs on Thursday, and that causes stress on cattle and people too. In Texas, they are starting to get some moisture down there. You know, a lot of your specialists in the weather scene said that they didn't think that, you know, Texas was going to come out of this drought, and it's going to take a long time for them to come out of the drought, but every drop helps. We did see some big rains down in South Texas. Houston got flooded out there early in the week. Also early in the week over at Midland, Odessa, which is basically a desert now, had 10 inches of snow, and that's pretty significant there. You don't see that all the time, but starting to get some moisture in bunches down in that country, and if the grass comes up green, we'll probably see an increase in demand, you know, wanting to get back into the cow business. But we did have a supply and demand grain stocks report there on Thursday morning, which was another major market mover again, as it always seems like it is early in the year like that on that January report. Ending corn stocks come out 97 million bushels above what they expected, which sent your corn futures down the limit on Thursday there, and it's probably going to help out on these cattle feeders here if they can secure some more corn, if they haven't already contracted everything that they needed. But these feeder cattle prices are just so high, it's going to be so difficult for them to come out if they don't just get hedged up completely and then just hope that nothing bad happens. But huge prices on feeders. You know, these, we talked earlier about these replacement heifers, and Nebraska is running out front on these prices, even up against neighboring places like northern Kansas or Iowa, Missouri, or out Colorado, and the Dakotas are several dollars back of Nebraska. Nebraska is just running out front, and we're not trying to hurt people's feelings that live anywhere else, and I'm not from Nebraska, but the cattle are better in Nebraska. You talk to these guys that go hunt for show steers, they go into commercial herds in Nebraska and look for them. They're just outstanding quality of cattle, and guys that are wanting these fancy top quality heifers to breed are sending orders into Nebraska to sift through the best heifers that they have at the sales there, and those reputation strings to buy some keeping heifers. In Bassett, Nebraska, there on Wednesday, that load of 612 pound heifers bring $2.12 through the sale. Now, I'm not talking about a gooseneck load or a pickup load. I'm talking about a pot load of about 60,000 pounds right there. They had another load weighing 840 pounds, brought 177. Huge prices, and those actually pencil out to be more dollars per head than most parts of the country are selling their bred heifers to calve this spring. But they do have a quality there, and that's what they want. Now, at the same time, we had a major breaking of a benchmark class of cattle and a benchmark price, but we keep talking about $2 5-weight steers at Valentine, Nebraska on Thursday. Over 330 pound in the top quality class of steers in the light 5 weights, averaged 524 pounds and averaged $204.10. So there you have it. Now we don't know where to go from here. 5-weight steers have brought over $2 a pound. In that range there, they had them up to $208.50. So I'm not sure where the next stopping point is at, but we've got quoted not just a few of them on enough to be significant and to post the market. 5-weight steers bring over $2 a pound. Fat cattle market this week, a couple dollars higher there. 123 in the Southern Plains, 124 up in Nebraska there, and they're trying to hold the ground on these high fat cattle prices because their feeders are sure not getting any cheaper. And now we're looking at feeder futures on the CME for like August and September trading at 156, which is based on a 750 pound steer, which is significantly higher than we are right now. So not expecting these feeder cattle prices to back off anytime soon. Regional weighted averages this week: in the north central states, a 700 to 800 pound steer cost you $153.51 compared to $149.03 last week and $98.08 a year ago. Down the south central states, including Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, 600 to 700 pound steer cost you $154.48 compared to $153.61 last week and just $99 even a year ago. And down in the southeast, if you order up some 500 to 600 pound steers, cost you $151.52 there, not laid in, compared to $145.83 last week and just $97.67 a year ago this week. For more market information, check out our website, marketnews.usda.gov, and from the Regional Market News Office in St. Joe, Missouri. We'll talk to you next week.